I'm Mary Childress. This is my second year on the Peru expedition. I was a student last year. This year I'm the TA. I just completed the Mountain Environments Research Institute certificate, and this program has just meant a lot to me, and I've grown a lot, and I really want this program to continue for many years. I think it's really important for students to get hands-on research opportunities instead of just being confined by a classroom. There's no better place to learn than out here, actually getting hands-on experience. So let's see what this year's expedition has to think about their experience.
My favorite part of the trip is definitely the people. The views have been awesome, but they would be nothing without the people here because I've made lifelong friends, and it's super nice to have people that are like-minded and you don't have to explain yourself to. Everyone just kind of gets each other.
I think my favorite part has been seeing the amazing geology of Peru and getting out of my comfort zone and just being in the beautiful mountains.
Favorite part is hands down the proposal. So Tim proposed to me on the pass between Quebrada Quilquehuanca and Cohoop, and that was just the best thing ever, so I'm super excited I get to marry my best friend.
My favorite part of the trip would have to be climbing Pisco Oeste, and I just think it was just such an amazing experience, being in a whole new part of the world, and it was like being on another planet, and just understanding, you think that your physical limits are limited to certain things, but pushing past those and being able to experience being on top of a mountain was just absolutely amazing, and just being with friends and doing science up on the mountain at the same time was just absolutely amazing.
I'd say my favorite part of the trip was doing research, doing my field research in the Polylepis stands with my amazing research partner, and actually getting statistically viable data and getting my first chance to experience these amazing trees. Definitely my favorite part. Hands down, I would have come just for that. Blew me out of the water.
Yeah, I would say I've gained a lot more self-confidence, and I've never gone on a backpacking trip before, and I did it. So I feel like I'm finally getting into my outdoorsy self that I've always wanted to be, which is nice, and it feels good.
Throughout all of this, really I've just learned to trust myself and have faith in the ability and resiliency of being a human being in general. And then what comes with that is being able to trust others and love others that are in your group. And so it just really helps being an overall a better human being, stronger being. And that just makes me happy because then you can enjoy life to your fullest.
Before this trip, I hadn't had any experience traveling or doing something so independent, so this has really changed my perspective on what I'm capable of, which I've been really proud of. So yeah, I don't know, I can't be interviewed anymore.
I've become way more grateful for where I'm from and what I can do at home. Seeing everything that Peruvians can't do here, or the way they have to live here and stuff, it just makes me a lot more grateful for home.
So the main thing, I think, and this is something that I would say as an instructor in a classroom too, is that you encounter new personalities every year with any new class, and this is a class as well, right? And these are people from opposite sides of the continent from where I live now. And so I think my biggest growth is learning how to interact with all of these different new personalities that we meet out here. And then you can add into that, not just the class and not just the student body itself, but also the Peruvians that we interact with as well.
I think this trip's made me realize that in the outdoors, it's almost, while it's cool seeing all this cool stuff, it's almost more about how the outdoors allows us to really bond with one another in ways that we really can't in our normal everyday lives.
I'd say self-belief is probably the biggest way that I've grown. We have an amazing group of people, and we're all super supportive of each other, and we've all been able to be in leadership positions throughout the trip, and I think just knowing that I'm capable of leading and getting that feedback has been a huge part of, I think, who I'll be in the future.
I was a student, and this year I feel like an actual scientist. It's been really awesome to know that the data I'm collecting can actually be published, that I'm doing it correctly, that it's statistically viable and important for the woodlands.
My biggest challenge has been being away from family for an extended period of time.
I would say my biggest challenge would probably be the climbing, especially Pisco, because it was only my second summit that I had ever done. And it was one of the most beautiful, most difficult experiences of my life, mentally and physically. And I think that just getting past that mental block of thinking that you can't keep going when you're climbing a mountain, but really you just have to tell yourself that you can was probably one of the most challenging parts.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you!
Thanks, Mary. I really appreciate it, and thank you, John. Thanks, everybody, for being here. It's been an unbelievable trip. It's just been one of the best experiences of my entire life.
Are you glad you came on this trip?
I'm really happy I came on this trip. I feel like
yeah.
I've grown a lot as a woman.
What do you hope students have gained from the Peru expedition, and what have you gained?
The thing I hope students gain is, today's society is so overprotected, and there's so much you can do in the world, and such a large difference you can make if you really care to do it. And so exploring what you're capable of and how you can contribute to making the world a better place is super important, and I think something everyone should strive for, especially when they're in college, and hopefully being out here and seeing all the different things that are possible. I hope that is what sticks with people in terms of specific lessons about water quality or whatever else. Those are just those are steps on a journey, but recognizing that the journey can be a long one and an interesting one, I think is the most important thing you can get out of the class. In terms of what I get out of it, it's always the people. Places change, and especially with climate change, they really change a lot. But at the end of the day, people are what make your life rich, and the more people you meet, and the more you get to know them, and the different perspectives you see on some of the places that I know super well, that enriches my life. So I enjoy being here with everybody who comes. So that's what I get out of it.
Thank you, John All, for making all of this possible for everyone. I wish you the best on your future expeditions. Just don't go falling in another crevasse. All right.